Actually, one of my favorite readings. It reminds me a lot of my journey to the priesthood. And what's going on in there is there's two men, one a younger guy, and then who's Samuel, and then there's a mentor figure for him, a much older guy named Eli. And Samuel and Eli are serving and doing their Jewish duties and their customs in the temple. And throughout the night, Samuel he's not sure what's going on. And so he runs to Eli and asks him, what's going on. But finally, Eli realizes that it's God speaking to Samuel. And so Eli helps Samuel understand that and then tells Samuel how to sort of go forth from there and how to hear God more clearly and what to do and how to do it. The reason I think that reminds me of my own journey is that I think we all have people in our life, hopefully, who help us see and understand more clearly what God is saying to us in the midst of our life and in the midst of our day. And so I wanted us just to maybe think a little bit today and challenge us a little bit as well to think about who it is that we go to. Who is it that we trust to help us understand what God's doing in our life? Who is it that helps us? Who do you go to help you understand what God is saying to you in your life? We as priests are actually really strongly encouraged to have what's called a spiritual director. And this is a person that we go to once a month to just basically say, hey, here's what's going on in my life. Here's what my last month has been like. My prayer life, my life as a pastor, all of these kinds of things. And then that person, that spiritual director, will give us feedback. Hey, maybe you should look at something in this light, or have you thought of this, or are you praying about this? I can't tell you the number of times where I've gone to spiritual direction and I've gotten in the car and I've been like, this is going to be a waste of time. I don't have the time. I'm not sure. I don't have any crises at the moment, or there's nothing that I really need to talk to my spiritual director about right now. Precisely in those times, it seems like I've walked away from spiritual direction afterwards with all of these new insights and things that I had not ever thought about before. And we're meant to walk with each other. We're meant to have other people help us. We're meant to have other people kind of provide insight into our life and our spiritual journey. And so my question for you is, who is it that in your life, who do you trust? Who do you trust your journey, your story to? Who do you trust your inner spiritual life to let them help give you feedback and help maybe provide and tell you things that you couldn't see on your own about what God is doing in your life? It's a very scary thing because it's a very intimate part of ourselves, and so there's a fear of letting other people in. Especially because we're so American, we're so individualistic, right? And so we think, especially with our spiritual life sometimes, I'm going to do this on my own. I can figure this out. I don't need other people's help. It's just me and God. But we miss out on a lot when we do that. And I think that we're being invited to think about and challenge ourselves to find people, a person or several people, that we can go to and call up when we have questions, call up when we have difficulties or joys. So that I think that is maybe something for us to think about today. Who is it that you trust, if anybody, with your inner spiritual life? Who do you trust to give feedback to you? Who do you trust to let them tell you maybe what God's doing in your life is this, even though you don't see that? Again, and if we aren't doing that with anyone, maybe today's the day that we start. Today, hopefully, is the day that we start letting someone walk with us and carry and unpack and unravel sometimes the inner workings of God in our life. And so we pray today for the strength to do that, to let other people help us, to let other people know about our story, and then also have the strength and courage to seek their advice, their help, their insights, and the courage to be vulnerable and let other people in and help provide and let us know what God is doing in the midst of our hearts.